'Tis the season for EDC. I did not plan that at all when I turned the camera on. Yeah, it's time for an EDC update. Not a whole lot has changed since my last video, which was March 2023. Filming this extremely late 2023 right now. But this has been my EDC since the weather has gotten a little bit colder, since it's winter time. Most of us gear guys and gear ladies enjoy the colder weather for the fact that it gives us an excuse to just carry more stuff on us a little bit more comfortably. We usually got thicker pants, we got coats on at the very least, we have more pockets and places we can put more stuff. The knife on me usually is something like this. I rotate through a lot of different knives, so I don't just have one knife that's on me all the time. I use almost every knife in my collection, just depending on how I'm feeling that day. But it's usually something like this, an all-arounder. This is the CJRB J1923. Medium, larger folder. Good for EDC, pretty good for defense. Not super heavy, not super obnoxious and huge and thick and fat, but not dinky either. And it's got a traction plan on there. It has quick deployment, tip-up carry. Just sits in my right front pocket. Something like this usually if I'm carrying a gun. Now usually, if I can fit it, I carry something like this. I have a handful of different guns I also rotate through, but something like this with a simple holster like this that carries inside the waistband if my pants happen to actually be wide enough, as in they're actually too big and I can have something like this fill in the gap for me. Tourist Judge, Public Defender, Poly. I'm a huge fan of the Judge line just for their versatility. You can fire 45 long Colt out of these very devastating rounds if you get a good kind. Usually I carry 250 grain jacketed hollow points rated at 960 FPS of 45 long Colt. If you're not familiar with any of those terms, that's like a really heavy 45 ACP. It's something like that. Very powerful tried and true round, but very light gun. It's like a compact version of the Judge. You can't really get a full grip on there, but it's not too bad, even though the recoil is pretty snappy. But you can also fire the 410 out of these, which are like miniature shotgun shells, pretty much. I do have some of those. Sometimes I use those. I use the Hornady triple defense. Sometimes I use the Winchester PDX-1s if I'm going into a much more rural area, or if I'm just going to have it in the car. A lot of different things you can do with these things, but generally speaking, the 45 long Colts are what I carry out of this guy. Now, sometimes I pocket carry if, for whatever reason, I'm not wearing the right pants that will accommodate something like this. I just stuff a gun in my pocket. This is a little bit obnoxious for that. I wouldn't do that with this, but that's when I have this guy right here. This is another Taurus, the 8.56 concealed hammer. Also a revolver, but it happens to be a snub nose, no hammer right there, so it's perfect for pocket carry. Actually, you don't have to worry about it getting snagged up against anything. But I carry it just like this, even though there's a belt clip on there. Typically I don't use it. I'll just have it in my internal left pocket in my coat. So this unzip, goes right in there, zip it back up, and I just carry it like that. It just holds in place just like this, and if I were to ever need it, I can just unzip my jacket, right hand, snag that sucker out and fire. There's no safety mechanism on here or anything. I just have this loaded with 638 special hollow points. The ones I'm currently rocking right now, I think, are Hornady 110 grain FTX jacketed hollow points, something like that. Just watched a lot of ballistic videos and did a lot of research. Apparently those supposedly are very good out of snub nose revolvers. Great revolver if I'm gonna pocket carry in my jacket. But if I have the right pants on, I prefer something like this. Just get that extra power right there. But both of them work. So either I'll be carrying one of these guns. If I just want to slap something on real quick, or if I'm wearing sweatpants and going to the gym or something, I'll stuff this guy in the coat. But if I can, I'd rather go with something like this. Just that little bit of extra power, but both excellent guns. If I'm not carrying a gun at all for whatever reason, I'm gonna go with a bigger knife. Something like this. This will be both my EDC and my defense option. Usually I go with the Espada large G10 from Cold Steel that you're looking at right here. Not terribly heavy. It's actually nice and slim, so it carries well. It's not too fat, doesn't print too much. It's waveable off the pocket, so you can deploy it very quickly. Very solid grip you can get on this guy. Triad lock, needs no introduction. Super strong, AUS 10A blade. Beautiful knife too, and it's relatively affordable, around the $100 range or so. So for the 5.5 inch blade we're getting right here, can't complain about that price at all. Really awesome knife, but I have a lot of different Cold Steels I would rotate through. It's usually this one. If I can't decide, I pick this guy right here. That's if I'm not carrying a gun. Although sometimes I'll carry this with a gun if I'm going into a more sketchy part of town or something like that. So the knives will be either one of these. Currently I only carry one dedicated folding knife on me at a time. The gun's gonna be either one of these. Again, pocket carrying, pants carrying. I usually forget to do this, but sometimes I'll carry a neck knife on me. Again, we can comfortably hide this underneath our jackets. I have only a couple of neck knives, but usually I just go with this one. Cold Steel Mini Tack in Tonto. Really, really awesome knife. You get a pretty damn long cutting edge there. Most neck knives are a little bit smaller than this one. Yeah, I understand that. But if I'm carrying in the winter, I don't mind carrying a big ass neck knife because it's going to be underneath my jacket anyway, and it's not going to be swinging and dangling around. So in that case, I'll be just fine throwing on a neck knife if I just feel like it for whatever reason, if I just want an excuse to have yet another blade. Speaking of other blades, inside of my wallet, this is like a cheap, like $7 or $8 wallet, but it's probably the best wallet I've ever had. I'm still rocking it. It's a no name, leather, button. There's a bazillion pockets in there. A lot of different slots you can throw in your cards. Obviously, I just took out all my cards and IDs just for the sake of the video, except for our knife, which just happens to be an Ian Sinclair Card Sharp V2 copycat. It's a Garbarial, they call this thing. It's pretty much the exact same thing. Very, very cheap credit card folder, man. You just boop, unfold it out like that, pop it into place like so, and kablamski, you got yourself another folding knife. Yeah, it's cheap, yeah, it's flimsy, but you know what? It weighs less than half an ounce. That's right. You'll pretty much forget it's on you. Also, because it's inside of your wallet, you're not even gonna feel it. What's really awesome about this wallet, I added this chain and this little hook to the chain myself. Didn't come with that, but I have this clip to my front belt loop. I'll wear this in my rear right pocket. I keep an SD card in here, but I've never used it. I just keep it in there. Micro SD card can go in there. Funny thing, I vacationed to Japan a little over a month before filming this right now. And in order for my phone to work in the country, I had to take out my American SIM card and put in a Japanese SIM card for the month I was there. And this spot, although it's meant for micro SD cards, which is what you're looking at in there, it's just a random micro SD card. This slot was so perfect because where the hell are you going to put a SIM card? It's basically the exact same size as a micro SD card. Super tiny, super lightweight. You're going to lose that thing. They will get lost so easily, and that can be pretty valuable, a SIM card for your phone. So this was the spot where I put my American SIM card when I swapped the SIM card out. It was perfect. Super snug, super tight, kept it safe for the whole trip. Super convenient, so many pockets in this thing. It's so cheap too. I like how there's zippers. If you want it to be extra secure, you can throw something in there. But that's where we keep yet another knife. If you know of any other wallet convenient tools, let me know. But usually this guy resides right here. And finally, in my front left pocket, my keys. Always have the carabiner attached to one of the belt loops if I have that available to me. Key to the car, fob to the car, nail clippers. Yeah, I hate it when I'm out and about. My nails feel long and I just want to clip them, so I just threw this guy on here. Kershaw Cinder is going to be the knife currently on our keys. There's a handful of different keychain knives I have, but I always use this one. It's also a bottle opener. Not that I really give a shit about that, but what I really like about this knife is that despite it being so tiny and so lightweight, I can get almost a full grip on this thing. Check that out. Almost all four of my fingers can perfectly fit on here just by its design, despite it being such a dinky ass little cutting edge right there. Full grip, including the lanyard it's on, if you want to call it that. Yeah, it's not going to get knocked out of your hand very easily. Just a really, really handy, convenient EDC item. And that liner, because it's so exposed right there, it's very easy to disengage it. It's actually a very ingenious design. For a $10 folding knife, you really cannot go wrong with this thing. Super impressive for the money. The Kershaw Cinder. It's one of my favorite keychain knives ever. Yeah, it's a liner lock, but I'm not going to be doing hard work with this thing, I don't think. Flashlight, still rocking the I1R2 EOS. Can't remember how to pronounce that, but great flashlight for the money. That's our bright mode right there. Then we have the more dim mode right there. It's very simple, but it's a USB rechargeable baby. It just takes a micro USB, so that's also super handy. Super awesome little flashlight right there. Pipe tamper. Occasionally I smoke a pipe, not very often, maybe once every other month or so, but... And finally, the flashlight. Still using the iProtech right here. I can't remember the model offhand, but greatest flashlight ever. Very cheap. It was like 14 bucks or something. You can change the spill and throw ratio right there by rotating it. I like how the light protrudes out of this rim right here, so you can tell if it's depleting its energy or not, even if it were sitting down like that. This button right here is glow in the dark, which is kind of a nice little touch. I like the pocket clip on there. It's totally adjustable. It does use batteries. I think it's like a CR2 or something like that. I know this company sells flashlights just like this that are rechargeable. Probably gonna step up to one of those pretty soon, but One of my favorite flashlights ever. I'll carry it in my front left pocket sometimes. Usually I don't. I already have a flashlight on me, and I already have my phone's flashlight, which is what I'm using to film right now. That usually goes in one of my Velcro pockets in my cargo pants. Sometimes my cargo pants do not have Velcro pockets, in which case I'll put it in the back left pocket. So I usually already have at least 2 flashlights on me. But if I feel like carrying a dedicated one, if I'm going out to somewhere more rural, somewhere maybe even more dangerous, or if I'm going fishing or something like that, I'll just keep yet another flashlight on me. Although it is annoying because I usually have my keys in my front left pocket as well. If I pull these out, sometimes it'll actually get snagged on the flashlight and it'll just go flying somewhere on the floor. So trying to figure out a better place to potentially put the flashlight. But if I'm carrying it, that's where it goes. That's pretty much it. It'll be either one of these guns or either one of these knives. So the EDC will be something more like, I don't know, this, I suppose. But if I'm showing all the different options, then it'll be like that. But anyway, that's about it. A lot of different blades, a lot of different sources of light. This EDC loadout has been working great for me. What is your EDC? Please let me know in the comments down below, because it's always interesting and fun to read what you guys are rocking and rolling. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe, hit that little bell notification if you do not want to miss weekly knife and gun videos of all sorts, and feel free to support me on Patreon, link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Mannix out.